We have Mr. Jacob Blake Sr. here today. We're happy to have him here on the Zoom. We wish it was under better circumstances, but given everything that's going on, we appreciate you taking the time just to talk with us today on WGCI. You are from Chicago, although this took place in Kenosha. I guess I want to start really quick with how you feel about the fact that Joe Biden came and stopped and talked with you all and the family, and President Trump didn't, and just where that kind of sits with you, and how did the conversation with Biden go?
Literally conversation with Biden. The first conversation we had was over the phone, and it was like I was talking to one of my family members over the phone. The empathy, the sympathy, the caring. He spent 57 minutes with me on the phone. Then he said, "I'm coming to see you all. I'm going to come and see you all." And lo and behold, a few days, less than a week later, here he was. And for an hour and a half, he sat there in that room, and we told him some of the things that we wanted, and he told us he was going to work for that reform as hard as he could. But he loved on my children that were in that room, and my children need that. They need to know that they're people too. They're humans too. So in 2020, we have to prove that we're still human. It's a shame. My father marched across that Edmund Pettus a long time ago, and they took that behind whooping so that we could all do what we supposed to do today. Medgar Evers got shot in front of his children and killed for us to vote. And we talk about we ain't gonna vote because I vote. Man, who told these young people this? Who told them this, man? There's people that gave their lives up.
Facts.
What happened to teaching about that? I don't have nothing to do with European history. I wasn't born in Europe. But it's taught in schools, it's mandatory in schools.
Facts.
So the Milwaukee Bucks, they did a protest where they walked out on an NBA game, and then the NBA followed suit by canceling all the games for that weekend. What did that mean to you, and did any other Milwaukee Bucks players or the organization reach out to you after they did that?
I mean, the Bucks literally paid for this hotel we're in right now. The Green Bay Packers paid for the first hotel. We had to move from the first hotel, and we had to move around because of the death threats that I received.
So how are you getting these death threats? Are they hitting you up on Facebook? Have they found your number? Like, how are they even getting to you?
They pop up on Facebook and Instagram, and they go away. They pop up, they're there for until I see them, then they're gone.
That's crazy.
Then they send jokes about my son being in the chair for the rest of his life. Ha ha, hooray.
Damn.
Wow. Yo, so, and listen.
You understand that's to be understood. That's going to happen.
Yeah. And listening to that, and then listening to you talk about your grandsons and talk about your son, you got a little emotional. And as a father of 3 daughters, and Cal has children, he understands this. I was enraged just listening to how your babies have to go through that, and I couldn't possibly fathom, how do you maintain a level of not just, for lack of a better word, kicking shit off, brother? Like, how do you not want to go out and do something to somebody or hurt somebody? How have you been able to keep that in check, man?
Mashallah, to Allah, brother. Because I believe what I believe in. I believe in an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But there's a time to do and there's a time to be. So it's not that time yet. But when that time comes, one must be prepared. Because we are at war. Whether you like it or not, war has been declared on us. Or there wouldn't be so many brown hashtags of brown faces. It's interesting how society is set up so that anything that we say negative is horrible. But other people in other places that hold other positions can say whatever they want to say. But we, as black people, are not granted that luxury. We're supposed to watch everything we say and not say certain things. Well, I say lie, that means no. We can say whatever we want to say. I'm not scared of anything. I'm not scared to die. If I could switch places with my son, I would switch places with my son, and I would get in my chair and I would talk junk from the chair, because I fear nothing but the will of Allah. I don't fear anything. I don't fear nothing. Nothing that looks like me with 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head. I don't fear nothing. And that's why I stand up so strong for my family, because I don't want them to have to fear. I don't want them to have to fear every time a bubblegum light comes on behind them. They have to wonder if they're going to pull away from a routine traffic stop with no injuries. Both cars are stopped, but they're worried about being injured. White people don't have to do that. White people get mad about, oh, it's going to be 15 minutes before he finishes his ticket. We worry about if we're going to walk away, drive away. We don't know if we're going to make it to the next day. Because that's America. The two justice systems of America exist. There's a justice system for them, meaning pink toes, and then there's a justice system for the black toes and brown toes.
Thanks.
Several days after the shooting with your son, you know, we had the situation in Kenosha with Kyle Rittenhouse, the 17-year-old white boy that was walking with a rifle and walked right by the police, and the police did nothing. And if that isn't the example of the difference, I don't know what better example we can have. Do you have any thoughts when you saw the video footage, and also video footage of him prior with law enforcement and them giving him water and thanking him for being out there? High five. He was underage. The rifle was illegal. When you saw those images of how he was treated and shot 3 people, 2 died, was able to go home in his bed and wasn't arrested until the next day, what were your thoughts when you saw that video?
My thoughts are what I told Don Lemon, or I told somebody on CNN. I said, that white boy shot, killed 2 people, one of them white, one of them black, blew a man's arm off, and got to go to another state. My son got sent to the back and went into a state of paralysis. That is a clear view of the 2 systems of justice that are set up in America. That is America. We're still fighting for the right to be human. Not 1/3, not 2/5, not 3/5, 100% human. We're fighting for the right to vote. This is 2020. They're trying to suppress the vote. Now, if that doesn't show you 2 sets of sides of the curtain, you know the wizard is behind the curtain. We on the other side of the curtain. We can't even go back there and sweep the floor.
Word. As we move forward, man, and you've gotten the support from people all around the country, do people feel, or
all around the world, brother?
All around the world.
All around the world.
Do you feel optimistic that this can be a catalyst for some real change? Because every time something happens, that's what we hope. And then it seems to happen again. Just since this has happened to your son, we see the video that got released about the cops that killed a guy in Rochester, New York. He was a Chicago guy too.
We have to stay vigilant. All right? The lamp cannot be blown out. The fire that burns inside of us all has to burn strong. We have to understand that we as a people, even though we're 13.6% of the total population, are just as diverse as the other 67, 72% that are pink toes. We're just as diverse with our thoughts, with everything. We're diverse, man. We can't be lumped in one sum of thinking, thought processes, of religious values. We are diverse. We come in every shade, baby. We come in every color. We have to stick together. Mm-hmm. But chattel slavery was the most diabolical thing ever put on us. And it took away the facts of individuality and what individuality brings to the table. When you have a bunch of different opinions that come to the table, you seek information that brings us together and keeps the seam of the seam. You know, there's a seam that holds the past together, right? Well, that seam is what holds our community and our people together. Find that seam and stitch that seam so tight that it'll never come apart. But we need to do that as a people together. We can't see this hand right here. If you slap somebody with that hand, that's just. But if you understand what I'm saying? If we move as a fist, man, that's a powerful thing. It's a powerful thing, man.
No doubt.
And I don't care what I've said in my past and what I've done in my past. I'm better if I said it, and I said it if I meant it.
No question. No question. All right, well,
and I'm not going to apologize to anybody for anything. My past and statements I've said have nothing to do with the son they put in my son's back.
Yeah. Question.
I'm not kumbaya, baby.
Can I ask you, what is the current condition of your son? You know, we have heard reports that there was a moment in time when he was handcuffed to the bed, the bed in the hospital, which made no sense. We've also heard that he is paralyzed from the waist down. What is the current condition of your son, Jacob Blake?
Now he's out of ICU.
Okay.
And he's getting a lot of physical therapy. We're in the midst of trying into a spine center that specializes in spinal therapy and try to get you back to where you were. So we're in the midst of moving him to a new hospital, and he's more aware than he has been lately. And he's ready. He's ready to start going fishing with his daddy.
Is he still paralyzed from the waist down?
That may be something that he has to live with for the rest of his life.
Mm.
Mr. Blake, so first of all, much props for you for being a Cubs fan. That's tough to do, being on the south side of that. You know, they give us grief about that. And
you know, they give me a little pass, baby.
They give it that, yeah. And I don't know about the Green Bay thing yet, but hey, I get it. In the circumstances, it's all good. But you know, Green Bay, the Packers.
Right.
But I want you to let the people out there know, what is your son like? Who is Jacob Blake? Like, because you know, the media's been trying to portray him as somebody who was a criminal who needed to be off the streets to try to justify the shooting. What is your son? Paint a picture of your son to the people out there that don't know him.
I'm gonna paint a picture and it's simple. Criminals don't raise 5 boys and go to work and pay for them kids to eat and sleep, have lights on, and vehicles to ride in. Criminals usually don't take care of nothing. My son was far from a criminal, man. He's my boy, man. He was the jokester and the comedy guy because he's like his dad. So me and him would tell jokes all day, and he'd hang up the phone because I make him laugh so hard because the dude just laughed a lot, man. He's not what they try to be smudge people. They try to categorically lynch you. It just started with me, so what do I have to do with anything? Then they question your fathering ability, or you couldn't have fathered him right, or you couldn't have, man, look, I don't hear none of that, man. That's my guy, man. And he's a lovable cat just like you and me or anybody else. But the media can paint any type of mural that they like to paint. But I know my son is not that. He's never had a felony.
Never had a felony.
He's never had a felony, man.
I think that's important, man, because one of the things they always do try to paint a picture of is, oh, well, he was a criminal, so he apparently deserved this treatment. You know what I mean? And that's one of the things that people on the other
Hey
side of the
man, look,
argument always bring up.
always, man, because that's the easiest thing to do. Be smudge somebody. It's easy to talk about somebody, and then once you say it, it's out of your mouth, so it sticks. You know, it depends on who you are, man. But my son was not what they say. My son was a great person, man, and a loving dude, man, and a loyal, loving cat, man. And he's been homecoming with me at Winston-Salem State.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when he was a short, he lived with me in Winston on a Hawthorne Road.
Right. Absolutely.
So it's not. Hey man, people tell you anything.
What's next in this fight? What's next in this fight for
Next in this
Blake
fight,
family?
we have to find justice for Jacob. We have that policeman has got to be charged with attempted murder. He did not shoot my son one time. He didn't shoot my son 2 times. After the 3rd time, what were you trying to do? Kill my son.
Yeah.
You know,
7 shots, bro, in the back. In the back. He totally blew off number 4 vertebrae in my son's back.
Thanks.
I want to say,
And that's a fact. That's not an opinion. 7 shots in the back of my son. My son has 190 staples holding them together.
Man.
Now, is that justice? Is that protect and serve? What we pay these officers to do. It comes out of our pockets, your pockets, the young lady's pockets, the other brother's pockets. We pay to be protected and served. Now, does that look like protection and being served? My son was unarmed. They said there was so that to me, there's nothing that justifies anything that brought on 7 shots to the back. That means my son wasn't facing them.
right.
In the old Western movies, if you shot somebody in the back, you looked as a
Coward.
that didn't mean,
Mm-hmm.
you understand what I'm saying? You're in the back, man. That
Mr.
means you are a coward.
Thanks.
Go ahead, baby. I'm sorry.
No, I want to say I agree with everything you're saying. And, you know, when I saw the video, when we all saw the video of your son, we were all outraged and devastated. And then to learn that 3 of his kids were in the car, it makes it that much worse.
We're in the car.
You know, that they're in the car this whole time. You mentioned it, as I was going to ask you, I'm not sure if you could speak about it, but one thing the media is trying to say is that your son was going to get a knife. And I've been arguing with different people online, and they're like, well, that's why the cop shot him, because he was going to get a weapon, and that they found this knife from somewhere by the car. Can you confirm or deny any of that? Even if they did, to me, it's not justifiable what happened to your son. But can you confirm or deny this whole knife allegation?
On that part right there, I have to tell you, confer with my lawyer, but I can tell you this: there's nothing that justifies them putting my son and my 3 grandsons' lives in danger. There's nothing that justified it. He was trying to get his sons out of harm's way.
Mr. Blake, so with that being said, and keeping in tune with your grandsons, I have a two-part question for you. One, how are the grandbabies doing? I know that they got to be going through somewhat a lot of trauma of seeing this. And 2, this is a rare case because the victim of the police brutality survived. Usually we're telling this story and the person ends up dying, and Jacob Blake will get to tell his side of the story. How does that make you feel, knowing that, you know, even though he might have lost the ability to use his legs for the rest of his life, but his voice is going to impact a very powerful statement when he's able to speak about this?
First of all, I say Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. That means all praises and thanks to Allah. And my son is here to narrate his own story. My grandsons are suffering right now. They were with me all day yesterday before I went to go see their father. And they're hurting. And we're seeking psychological help for them right now. They need to talk to somebody right now. Not tomorrow. They need to talk to somebody right now. They're hurting because the only questions that one of Israel asked me is one of the oldest, the 8-year-old of his sons, Papa. I said, what, baby? He said, why did they shoot Daddy? And I say, baby, they shouldn't have shot it off. Then 5 minutes later, Papa. I said, what, baby? Why did they shoot Daddy? I said, baby, they wasn't supposed to shoot him at all. Then he'll start to whine a little bit. Then I'll hug him up, and then it's affected my grandson. Bagheera doesn't even, he just sat down on the floor in Walmart and said, I don't want to go nowhere. I don't want to go nowhere. I was taking him to get some shoes. I don't want to go nowhere.
Damn, that's tough. That's tough.
You know, and to see my grandsons like, it's heartbreaking, man. It's heartbreaking, man. My grandsons are the most rambunctious little rascals you've ever seen in your life. And to see them, 1 minute they're normal, and the next minute they're in tears and crying, man, it's not, this is not what it's supposed to be, man. It's not what it's supposed to be, man.
Yeah. Jacob, let me ask you about the fact that this obviously has happened with your family, and you found yourself speaking in Washington, D.C. You know what I mean? And kind of, you know, retracing those footsteps that Dr. Martin Luther King put down years ago. And here you find yourself speaking very passionately about some of the same problems he was speaking on back in the 60s. And here you are at the podium in D.C. and speaking about what happened to your family. What did that moment mean to you? And, you know, what kind of thoughts were going through your mind being in D.C.?
Being the son of a civil rights activist that was in D.C. for the original march, that marched to that Edmund Pettus Bridge, and then people put hands on my father. I speak with that passion, that same passion that my father had, not knowing if he was going to make it home to his babies. I was supposed to do that. I had no choice. I was held up. I have bad legs. My knees get real bad. I had one ramily on one side, and I had another ramily on the other. All right? And there was plenty of rams out there in that crowd. If you'd have seen how much support we had from Winston-Salem State in that 250, 300,000 people in that crowd, you would have been a problem, my brother.
Yes, sir.
And they stood me up, and they kept, I leaned on my brothers because they are my keepers. 30-some years ago, 36 years ago, 35, 36 years ago, Winston-Salem State didn't look like it looked today.
Right.
And those brothers and me go back far as you can't even see how far back we go. I can pick up the phone, and any one of those brothers that we lived in Brown Hall or Big Hall ain't even there no more.
Right.
You know, there's no calf no more. They got fast food and everything in that building, man. Look, man, we had the calf, man.
Right.
With a red floor in it. I was talking to Derek Beasley the other day, and Derek said, man, you remember how they gave us chicken 3 times there? I said, we had so much chicken, man, you burnt feathers, man.
Yeah.
You know. And, but we was family, man. We wasn't classmates, man. We was family, man.
Nice.
At historically black colleges, man, HBCUs, man, dog, look, you might have one can of get in the shortages. But there might be 7 cats sitting around and there's only 6 artists in it. We're gonna figure out how to make it work.
No question.
And that type of mindset you carry out throughout your life. For 30 years, I owned my own company. I was contracted for 30 years, man, until my heart got bad and they had to give me a quadruple bypass on steroids. Well, my ramps were there when I was, you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So I've been in a coma twice, and my ramps have been, where was my ramps was right there. I got 2 ramps down the hall from back in the 80s, down the hall right now. So they couldn't be away from me one more day, and they flew in to be with me. That's the type of thing that we want to have for our young Black people, the camaraderie, the loyalty, understand how important it is to be a part of something positive, man. We are all shown, they like to show us in a negative light, man. We ain't like that, man.
Yeah.
We are not like that, man.
Yeah. No
You know, I went to Hampton. I always give Kyle a lot of flack about Winston-Salem.
That's right.
But I mean, he spoke highly of it, so I won't tease him about his college of choice anymore.
You see it?
Now, where did you go? Where did you go?
I went to Hampton University in Virginia.
Oh my gosh, you was a pilot?
Yeah. Yeah. Now look, don't say nothing bad about it. I'm gonna ask you a question. I'm gonna bring it back to your grandsons real quick. Have they been to the hospital to visit their father?
No, that's what we're working on as we speak.
Okay.
Because they just need to touch him.
Right.
Because sorry.
No, don't apologize.
It's understandable, bro.
When I put my hands on my baby, I was all right then.
Take your time.
Mm-hmm. You muted yourself, brother.
That I needed. And the strength to go on.
Man.
Just touching his skin. When I went in there, when he was still in and out of the coma state, when he woke up and he saw me, he touched my hand and he squeezed it so hard. And he said, he didn't know that I was coming. And I said, man, do you think I could sit in Charlotte with you up here like this? And he said, man, I love you so much. And I said, man, you know, you my guy, dog. And the next question was, why did they shoot me so many times? I said I wasn't going to do this no more. So I told him they weren't supposed to shoot you one time, baby. And he said, Daddy, it hurts so much. I said, I know it hurts. So they took 70% of my baby's intestines and 2 bullets actually blew out the number 1 and the number 4 vertebrae. And that was tough.
Look, man, I know you're dealing with a lot like right now, so we appreciate you just taking the time just to talk with us today. So that means a lot. And we wish your family the best. We wish your son a speedy recovery. And, you know, we in this fight with you, bro. We support you. So anytime you feel like you got something to say to Chicago, reach out.
Man, you got my number, baby. I love you, man. Ramley for life.
Yes, sir. Your Ram family is definitely in the building. You already know.
Yeah.
All right,
Salam
cool.
alaikum, brother.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
All right, Jay. Thank you, bro, man. Y'all be safe, okay?
All right. Thank you.
All right.